both in leather bomber jackets, blue shirts, and khaki slacks. They'd put on their uniforms for the visit. She knew one of them, Bob Sheenan, who worked behind the parts counter at Canello's Farm and Garden. He was about 4th or 5th in the local watchman ranks. She knew the other man's face, but not his name. "Been out riding?" Sheenan asked when she walked into the entry. She didn't answer. No pleasantries for the watchman. "What do you want, Bob?" "Well now." Sheenan was a big man with a bar brawler's face. "You're telling people that the watchman had something to do with your husband." "You did," she said flatly. "I want to know where he is. If you're not here to tell me, then get out." He jabbed a finger at her and stepped closer. "We had nothing to do with your husband. If you keep talking that way, we will take you to court." She squared off to him. "Or beat me up?" "We don't do that." "Bullshit. What about that Mexican kid 2 weeks ago? You broke his cheekbones." "He was attempting to escape," the second man said. "You're not the police," she snapped. "You're supposed to be old Boy Scouts. What were you doing capturing him, huh?" Sheenan and the second man looked at each other for a second, confused. Then Sheenan pulled himself back. "I don't care about the Mexican. That's got nothing to do with this." She bared her teeth. "Is this coming from Goodman, or is this just some moronic crap you made up on your own?" "This is not crap, missus." His eyes widened and his shoulders tensed, as if he were about to strike her. "You are tearing down our good name. I don't know what your husband is up to or where he's gone, but we will find out. In the meantime, you shut your fucking mouth." "I'm not going to shut my mouth," she snarled at him. "I'll tell you something, Bob. You better be here on Goodman's orders, because you're going to need as much backup as you can get. If you came here on your own hook, I'll have your balls by midnight. Now, are you going to get out, or do I call the sheriff?" Sheenan shuffled a half-step forward, looming, not worried at the threat. The security cameras were on. All of this was on tape. She refused to move back, but slipped her right hand into the pocket of the jean jacket, touched the cold steel of the .380. "Something's going on here," Sheenan hissed, jabbing the finger again, but not touching her. "We're going to find out what it is. In the meantime, you stick close to the house, missus. We don't want something to happen to you, too." Then he laughed and turned and walked out. The other man held the door, and before pulling it closed behind him said, "We're watching." She exhaled, walked into the library, out of range of the security cameras, took the pistol out of her pocket with a shaking hand, and engaged the safety. Her biggest fear was that they would do something stupid, that they would stage an accident, a mishap, a mystery killing, a disappearance. Even if they were eventually caught, that wouldn't do her any good. She could hear the local news anchor. And then she vanished into the same darkness that took her husband. She'd worked as a reporter for a television station in Richmond and used to write that stuff. That's how she'd do it. She'd been planning to run for 2 weeks. Sheenan had pulled the trigger. She put the gun back in her pocket, headed for the stairs, and shouted, "Sandy?" Sandy came out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Yes?" "I'm going into town. Did you pick up the dry cleaning?" "Yes, I did. I've still got them in the kitchen." "I'll need the red blouse and the gray slacks. Bring them up and put them on the bed. I'll be in the shower." "What about the schnitzel? Will you be back for lunch?" "I'll get a bite in town. You and Lon and Carl could have sandwiches, and leave one for me in the refrigerator. I'll eat it cold this afternoon." "Yes, ma'am." She took the pickup into Lexington, driving too fast, enjoying the feel of the back end kicking out in the turns. In town, she stopped at the bank, took out $5,000 in cash, returned 2 books to the library, filled the truck's gas tank, went to the feed store and picked up 4 bags of supplement for the horses. At the post office, she turned off the mail and had it forwarded to Washington. The window clerk was a watchman, but he was whistling as he put together the temporary change of address and smiled at her when she said goodbye. She was back at Oak Walk at 1 o'clock, sent Sandy to get Lon and Carl. When the three were assembled in the kitchen, she told them that she was going to Washington and didn't know when she'd be back. With the controversy about Lincoln and with the watchman visiting this morning, I think I'd better move into town for a while. So you three will be running this place. I'm going to leave $3,000 in cash with Lon. If you need to buy small stuff, use that and put the receipts in the ball jar on the kitchen counter. I'll leave the keys for the truck and the car. Could be a while before I'm back full time. Probably not until we find Link. When she was satisfied that the farm would be handled, she ate the cold schnitzel sandwich, opened the safe, and removed and packed her jewelry, packed a small suitcase with clothes she wanted to take to the city, went to the security room, took the tape out of the security cameras, and put in a new one. At 4 o'clock, she heard the gate buzzer chirp. She looked out the front window down the lawn where the driveway snaked up from the road. 2 cars were coming up the hill, a gunmetal gray Mercedes-Benz sedan and a black Lincoln town car. She went out on the porch when the cars stopped in the driveway circle. A chauffeur got out of the Benz and waited. Another chauffeur got out of the town car and held the back door. A young woman got out, followed by a slightly older man, both carrying briefcases. Madison met them at the top of the porch stairs. "Hello," the woman said. "I'm Janice Rogers. This is Lane Parks. Johnny said to say hello for him. He will see you tonight." "2 cars?" she asked. "Johnny thought a convoy would be better," Rogers said. "If you're really worried, it would make it more complicated for anyone to interfere with us." "Good. Let me get my things," she said. The trip into D.C. took a little more than 3 hours. Her attorney, Johnson Black, was waiting on the porch when the Benz pulled up to the townhouse, alerted by the 2 junior attorneys in the town car. Black was dressed like his name, in shades of black, under a black raincoat, but with a brilliant Jungle Birds necktie. She got out, the chauffeur popped the trunk to get her luggage, and she walked up the sidewalk, and Black kissed her on the cheek and said, "Quite an adventure. The kind I don't need. Randall James is coming over tonight, if you don't mind. He wants to talk about those tapes. He wants you on his show tomorrow." Randall James had a noon gig as the Washington insider on the local ABC outlet. James showed up at 9 o'clock, an unctuous man with careful black hair, a sharp nose, and a dimple on his chin. He sat in the chair, watching the tapes, checking her profile from time to time. When they were done, he said, "I'll put you on right at the top, at noon, live. This is great shit, Mrs. Bowe." He picked up a remote and ran back to the point where Sheenan had shuffled toward her. The threat seemed more explicit on the tape than it had in person. James froze the scene, said, "Look at the face on that fucker." Her name was Madison Bowe. Her husband was an ex-U.S. senator from Virginia who 2 weeks earlier had vanished after a speech in Charlottesville. Vanished like a wisp of smoke. Next day, the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia stood in the living room of the private quarters on the 2nd floor of the governor's mansion, watching the television. He was flushed, angry, but silent. His brother was not. His brother screamed at the television. "Look at the bitch, Arlo. Look at that bitch. She's ruining you, and she knows it. God damn her eyes." "She's good at it," Arlo Goodman said after a moment, a small smile on his face. Darrell Goodman wasn't amused. He sat on the couch behind the governor, wearing a tan raincoat, his hands in the pockets, a tennis hat shading his eyes, making them invisible in the already dimly lit room. His body was canted toward the TV, trembling with tension. "You want me to?" The governor turned and pointed a finger at him. "Nothing. Nobody goes near her, not for any reason. I'll make a statement, sweetness and light, apologize, kick the watchman's ass. What's his name? Sheenan? We kick his ass. But if anything happened to her, I'd be cooked. Done. Finished. Stay the fuck away from her."